As long as you're holding the feather, that nobody interfere, don't ask any questions. So a little bit about myself,
Every week, 69-year-old Judy Pelly bears her soul in a talking circle at the Elizabeth Fry Society.
My father was an alcoholic, and so was my mother.
It's a safe space for women who need it. They've spent time in jail and struggled with abuse, addiction, or domestic violence.
I was beaten to a pulp, or sometimes you couldn't even recognize who I was.
For Pelly, raw honesty is the only path to healing.
When I was sexually abused by the time I was age 7 years old.
That abuse happened during her 6 years at a residential school. She started drinking at the age of 13 and didn't stop for decades.
I drank. I was a broken person.
But no more. She now spreads a message of hope.
I'll never be ashamed of where I came from. I came from poverty. I came from abuse. I came from domestic violence. I was a drunk. I was all these things. But you know what? I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm an Anishinaabe, and I'll never be ashamed of that.
6 years ago, Pelly began leading talking circles in Saskatoon several times a week, helping those on drugs, on the streets, in gangs, or caught up in sex trafficking rings. And now she also advises some of the most powerful organizations and institutions in the city.
I usually like to go by a cultural advisor or knowledge keeper. People use elder, and I don't feel like I quite fit that yet. I don't think I'm wise enough.
Most would respectfully disagree. The former teacher and college dean advises 30 groups in total, including the University of Saskatchewan, the Health Authority, Saskatoon City Hall, and Police Service.
I'm getting calls every single day almost to do new things. I can't keep up.
Hi, Judy. How are you doing?
Deputy Police Chief Randy Hughesman sits on the Chief's Indigenous Advisory Committee with Pelly.
You know, true healing begins when we start to talk to one another.
We learn, we change, we grow. And I've seen this police service crawl out from the real dark times and the struggles with relationships that we've had with the Indigenous culture. And I'll tell you that we've come a long way.
Pelly does many things, but right now her focus is helping groups figure out how to implement the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's 94 calls to action.
We need one another. We can't do this alone.
There's a lot of pressure on these institutions, universities, hospitals, police services, to fix or get rid of systemic racism, and they call you. Do you ever worry that it's more public relations than anything?
It is. It very much is. And you know, some people say like it's just tokenism, and the elders are starting to say, you know what, no more lip service, no more baby steps.
She hopes this is a wake-up call, the confirmation this summer of unidentified remains near residential schools.
I look at Judy as part of this organization.
RCMP Superintendent Honey Dwyer says she asked Pelly for advice on how officers should respond.
How should they approach when they're confronted with being told that we're responsible for the residential schools, for children being pulled away?
So Pelly recorded a video for RCMP officers across Canada. Her advice? Acknowledge, apologize, listen.
It just opened our members' eyes that, yes, we do have a part. We have to acknowledge the past, and how do we move forward on that, and hear what happened and offer an apology.
So every time you do these talks and you share your story, you revisit that trauma.
Yeah.
What toll does that take on you?
Doesn't. It builds me up. Every single morning I wake up with gratitude. Every single morning I thank the Creator. And every single night I go to bed and I say, did I do the right thing, or did I do the best I could? This is not book learning. This is real life experience.
She chooses to try to make change within herself, within institutions, and within these circles.
Don't let your past define you.
Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Saskatoon.